Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Recently, I stumbled on a press release with an interesting story, talking from the group, the Illinois Policy Institute, which I've had them on the program before. They're great folks out there in the great state of Illinois, talking about the governor's plan to unionize Illinois mom and dads. Like, what's up with that? That can't help but get one's attention, and that the Supreme Court should scrutinize that, according to IllinoisPolicy.org. Paul Kersey, he's with that group. Paul, what do you do for that group?
Well, I'm Director of Labor Policy, and one of the things that we did is we've been working on the Harris versus Quinn case. We filed an amicus brief on that, and that is, as you said, a case where the state tried to unionize moms and dads throughout Illinois who have disabled children and take part in a state Medicaid program that helps them with the cost of taking care of their loved ones.
Okay. Elaborate on that. First of all, is there any other state doing it? Talk a little bit about the approach.
Well, there's about a dozen states that have, across the country, that have tried to unionize people in this situation. Basically, again, it's what you're talking about is a family. The Harrises are up in suburban Chicago. They have a disabled son by the name of Josh, and Mrs. Harris stays at home to take care of him pretty much around the clock. She takes part in a state Medicaid program that provides her with some assistance to help her with the costs and the expenses and the rest of it. And based on that, the state tried to tell her that she was an employee and could be unionized and forced to pay union dues.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, you're talking about a pretty big expense. The union was actually taking in $20 million a year off of this and another group of daycare providers that they unionized for a long time. Fortunately, the Supreme Court took a look at this. They said that the union and the governor went way too far on this one, and they are bringing it to an end. That's what the Harris versus Quinn decision was all about.
Yeah, Illinois sure is wacky.
Well, I mean, the unions really were pushing things too far on this one, and they were being rewarded with it. They were collecting $10 million a year off of Pam Harris's, off of the one group of parents, and they also unionized daycare providers who get a subsidy for taking in children from low-income families, and they were taking in another $10 million a year off of that. Fortunately, that's going to be brought to an end in Illinois and a dozen other states. And the unions are going to—it's a big defeat for unions, but it's a big win for First Amendment freedoms.
Right. Yeah, and it's also, I think, a warning to people anywhere who are thinking about getting government subsidy.
Well, I mean,
it's a question of when.
It's
a question of when this becomes standard practice. It's not if anymore. It's a very bizarre world that we live in, my opinion.
Well, again, it's something we have to keep an eye on whenever government provides benefits. One of the temptations will be for unions to try and insert themselves in, call you an employee, and extract union dues from you. But again, fortunately, the Supreme Court saw through this; they brought it to an end.
How much does she make? Do you have any idea?
The benefits for her were somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000 a year. And this was money that she really needed to take care of her son.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, what an incredible story. Very far-reaching. And the unions were making a lot of jack from people in this really vulnerable situation.
Yeah, that's exactly the truth. One other good thing that came out of this decision, the Supreme Court is really going to take a close look at forced dues in general for unions. There's a lot of decisions that say they can, but the Supreme Court never looked really at that and looked at it really in terms of whether that's appropriate with the First Amendment. One of the things that came out of the decision was they are willing to reconsider that. And we may actually have a situation where unions in government can't force anybody to join and can't force anybody to pay dues, which would be a big step forward.
Yeah, that certainly would. That would be incredible. That would be a huge victory for right-to-work advocates everywhere. So, hey, I noticed that your bio over there at IllinoisPolicy.org. You're originally from Michigan. What part of Michigan?
Well, actually, I grew up in Detroit, and then I worked for a few years at the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, which was another state. Michigan was another one of the states that had forced dues for government employees and forced dues for people like Pam Harris, who were caring for disabled relatives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible situation up there. Although, boy, that state has enjoyed a huge amount of really, I think it's going through a renaissance.
Well, I think they did very well for themselves. A couple of years they passed the right-to-work law, which says that nobody can be forced to pay union dues. Right-to-work is a huge boost to economic development. The states that have it generally have better job growth, and because there's more demand for jobs, wages tend to grow faster as well. So it's really a winner for everybody when you have it that way.
Yeah.
Texas, fortunately, is one of them, too. You'll be happy to know.
I know. I live here. And I monitor the plight of business everywhere, and I can't help but notice that Houston's the fastest-growing city and in the fastest-growing state in the country, and that's certainly not happening because of our malaise, that's for sure. Yeah, we're very fortunate to live here. But it's been interesting to watch Michigan from going from like 50 or 49 in competitiveness to 23 or 24 in just 4 years. It's amazing what a little shift in government can do. Were you there when Larry Reed was at the Mackinac Center?
Yes, I was. At least for part of it, anyway. Larry Reed was a great guy, and he was and the work that he did was pivotal in getting Michigan to move eventually to a right-to-work state.
Yeah, Larry's awesome. I've known Larry for over 20 years. Great organization, and really excited about the work that the Illinois Policy Group there is making, and that's IllinoisPolicy.org. Paul Kersey, he's been our guest. Thanks for your time today.
Very welcome.
Yeah, make sure you check out that article there. I think it's fascinating. And I got to tell you, we got to check government every chance we get. I'm Kevin Price. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here can be found over there at usdailyreview.com.